Welcome everybody to the Third Touch Soccer Podcast. My name is Sam Leamy. I am here with Connor Walsh and Michael McLaughlin. What's going on, boys?
How's it going, fellers?
Hey, how are you, feller? How is it going for you over there, Connor?
Happy Memorial Day to my buddies.
Yeah, happy Memorial Day to everyone. Welcome to a special edition, Memorial Edition of the Third Touch
Remembering
Soccer
a lot
Podcast.
of stuff.
Memorial Edition. We're still around, but yeah.
But
It's a Memorial Day.
It is a Memorial Day. Hope everyone had a good barbecue with their families and remembered all the veterans that served our country.
Can I just give a quick
Always.
shout
Your
out?
country.
Well,
Have a
your
quick
country
shout out-
too. Now you're a citizen.
I am. Yeah, it is my country.
It's your
That's
country.
right. Yeah,
mine.
Sam. Who's the first president of the United States?
Doesn't matter. Washington, isn't it?
Shout out to my mother who listens to every episode, a veteran, former Navy veteran. I love you, Mom.
Oh, I love Connor's mom as well.
Yeah, shout out to Mrs. Walsh.
Yeah,
Miss
thanks,
Walsh.
Mom. Thanks for all you did for us.
But it wasn't a good Memorial weekend for, well, it probably was a very good Memorial weekend for Sir Tiger Woods.
Tiger.
Today arrested for DUI down in Florida.
Yeah. Well, Connor, you're too young.
What do you mean I'm too young? For what?
Do you love Tiger Woods?
I grew up watching a lot of golf with my dad. A lot. Like, I
Yeah.
watched more golf growing up than
Yeah.
just about any other sport.
Okay, I watched Tiger Woods with my dad and my brother. Watching Tiger crush it was like with my family. My whole family was one of the best. It's such a good experience. Like,
Everyone
everybody
tuned
loved
in.
it.
Everyone tuned in. Both sets of grandparents, I
Dude.
can say, and the fall from the top is he's just falling a little
But
bit farther.
Tiger, like, I'm talking like what 99 PGA events against Bob May. We're all high fiving. 2008 U.S. Open versus I forget who, but he hits that putt to send it to the playoff.
Rocco Mediate.
Like I'm at my family's house out in Massachusetts. He brought so much excitement and happiness to my family to see that picture, that mugshot
Today.
It is brutal.
Is this the end?
It's the
I mean,
end.
it's going to be such a hard climb back up for Tiger Woods. Obviously, his marital affairs back in 2010, 11.
2009, I think.
Around that time. He had to rebound from that. He was Golfer of the Year in 2013,
yeah,
only
yeah.
4 years ago. And
No, talent-wise, he's the best I think it's ever existed. There's
And
no
he
doubt.
came out the other day and he said he's never felt better, but it's going to take a few more months to, get that swing in motion back in.
Yeah.
But mentally, he said he never felt better. And then this
Well,
weekend,
dude, when I saw it, I was like, oh, he's probably just like Oxycontin or whatever painkillers he's on. And then I read the police report, and they're like, nah, he was like, smelled like booze, and he acted arrogantly. According to the
Tiger was
police.
very simply out in the piss, and he neglected to use an Uber. And for that, his career is officially over. And Tiger,
I don't think it's over. I don't
thanks
think it's
for the
over.
memories.
No, fuck that.
Dude, he can't.
Tiger,
he
it's
can't-
done. It's
no,
done.
He can't
It's
respond
done.
to
It's
this.
done.
He's
Tiger
done.
will respond from this.
come on.
I think
Dude,
you're
Tony-
holding on to.
How old does he look in that mugshot? How long?
Tony La Russa won a World Series championship, and
guy-
he had a couple DUIs, but you don't
The
remember that.
Karate Kid guy?
Yeah.
Was this when he was a
Cobra
player?
Kai.
Was this when Tony was a player?
What's up?
Was this when Tony La Russa was a player?
Break him. What?
Was this when Tony La Russa was a player?
Sweep the leg.
Tony La Russa was a manager of St. Louis Cardinals, and during
I
spring
know-
training, like 2004, 2005, he got hammered and drove. I mean, he was a drinker, and so he drove, and they got him.
So this is
Tiger's not a drinker. I've never heard Tiger drinking
my.
like that.
They all pie.
He's been drunk since Thanksgiving of 2009.
Dude, well, let's be honest. Do you see where he was going? I saw the Golf Channel. Thank you, Golf Channel, for laying out the whole map where he was driving.
Oh,
he was
sick.
driving south, not below his house, not below his restaurant, just south to nowhere at 3 a.m. Where do you go
Miami.
late? Well, where do you go late at night, drunk,
Miami.
in your car?
I think everyone goes to Miami late at night drunk.
Now, but where would he really be going?
Zhuzh,
Yes,
Tiger. We
it's the only
understand.
time you make dumb decisions in your life is going after. What'd you
Zhuzh.
call it? Yeah,
Zhuzh.
Yeah.
late at night. Yeah,
For lack of a better term.
Well,
so
they-
he was going after some girl
yeah.
who's a waitress at Applebee's or a host at Perkins.
Well, I saw Denny's. I heard
Oh no, that's old
it
school.
may have just been a meme. I don't know.
I don't know,
Tiger-
but
Tiger
it does
loves his
to watch
Denny's.
someone fall from grace sucks. I don't know.
Yeah. But this was my Memorial Day. I was actually waiting for you lads, and I turned on Lifetime, and I watched back-to-back Lifetime movies. The Whitney Houston 2015. Now look at your sad face. And then you walk in watching the premiere of the Michael Jackson one, which was kind of odd. But the Whitney Houston one was pretty good. Like, the actress was great, actually. And Bobby Brown, they portrayed Bobby Brown to be, like, an okay guy.
Yeah.
But it was
Yeah. Question. What does that have to do with soccer?
falling from grace.
All right.
Whitney
Falls from
Houston.
grace.
So yeah, I wanted to discuss with
All
you
right.
guys the biggest fall of grace in sports, and then we'll take that to soccer. So Connor, who's your biggest fall of grace in sports?
I mean, it has to be Tiger. It was so publicized, and you had judge after judge claiming that Tiger smashed, and you know what was true, what was false, and then he kind of gets back on tour, hurt a lot. I mean, how many wins did he get in the last few years? 2 wins?
Oh, I don't know how many he's had since 2013. 2013 he killed it, but then he got injured 2014.
Yeah, so he's had a rough road, and then this is just almost the icing on the cake as far as the end of his career goes, and I really can't think of someone with a bigger fall of grace.
How about you, Mike?
I can't. I mean, you can think of people that have had injuries that have fallen. I mean, maybe it's so funny. Maybe you go Zidane the headbutt, but it didn't matter. He
It's not
recuperated.
fall from grace.
Yeah,
It's
but it
really
was
right-
despicable. Like in the moment.
It's the way he went out though, and it will always go down as history as
Yeah.
you know.
As-
Zidane.
yeah.
I mean, mine is. I mean, obviously, Aaron Hernandez has just committed suicide
but
in jail. That's a huge fall from grace.
Yeah, but
You
he was
talk about-
never that big anyway.
You talk about Lance Armstrong.
Oh, that's probably
That's
Lance.
big, but I think the
Yeah.
biggest one's O.J. Simpson. It has to be. Has to be.
Well, OJ
the
was the best player. Yeah.
The biggest fall of grace for a sports personality,
Yeah,
going through that.
I don't even like talking about OJ because it's so crazy.
He's probably going to be released from prison this year, actually, for his burglary.
In Las Vegas,
Yeah,
right? He stole a bunch of
so-
memorabilia. Yo, I watched that FX OJ series. It's amazing. Me, I was too young for that, and I did not realize how big of a story that was at the time. Like
Did you know it was Domino Pizza's busiest?
Yeah, no, I've seen
few
that. I've
hours
seen that
of all
fact on
time.
social
Are you
media.
serious?
Oh, during that car chase, yeah.
Are we talking about OJ?
Yeah. Because I remember I was young. I was like in England at the time, and I remember, the Bill Clinton, Monica Lewinsky thing, and then the OJ thing around the same time. And I was-
OJ was before that.
Way
though.
before that.
Yeah,
Was it
a little
OJ,
bit.
dude, I remember the OJ night, the night of the fucking chase. I was upstairs in my father's apartment, and I picked up his guitar, and I just started learning chords as a little kid. Like I'm like, well, the A chord, and it's like my fingers hurt, and I'm playing it, and I'm watching the Knicks Rockets final game on an old TV, and all of a sudden they cut in
Yeah.
with the OJ Simpson. It was just so bizarre, dude. It
I
was crazy.
think that's the biggest fall of grace of
You're-
any sports
you're
star.
probably
This,
right.
I mean, Tiger Woods, it's pretty bad, and that mugshot that we saw
Yeah.
today was pretty bad. But soccer-wise, who do you think stars that have shown so much promise as a youngster and have just kind of faded away?
I mean, I think for me personally, this is biased, but I would say Jack Wilshere.
He's done. So you mean he's done?
I mean, Ryan Francis started over him. Andrew Sermon started over him. I think Wilshere's career is hit
Yeah.
a severe plateau. But someone else, it's not really a fall from grace because he was so disliked. But
I don't think it ever hit a plateau. I think he reached a peak for about 2 or 3 games, and then he just plummeted.
yeah, I don't know. Wilshere for me, I still have so much hope. But honestly, I think no one ever loved him. But Joey Barton betting on over 1,000 matches is wild. And matches that he also those are included matches.
You know what?
he played
That's
in.
right there. Fall from Pete Rose. Fall from grace.
That's a good one.
Pete Rose, one of the all-time hit leader who then bet on sports, and
Speaking
that's
of-
probably number one.
I was just in
Well,
Cooperstown.
But on these guys that took steroids, like Roger Clemens and
Yeah.
Mark McGuire, those falls
Nah.
from grace, do you think? Or?
Because
Nah,
that
'cause
was the
it's
whole era.
the whole
If
era,
you look at the
yeah,
early
yeah.
90s, like books about the early 90s and that whole era, dudes were popping pills
Yeah, true.
and dudes were sticking syringes in guys' butts for. It was accepted. It was an accepted part of the game. And then, people started to find out and it got crazy. You just got to throw an asterisk on that era. It was just
Yeah.
a different era of the game.
As
I mean-
far as Americans that have fallen from grace,
The biggest soccer player is definitely it's got to be Freddie
Freddie
Adu.
Adu,
It has to be
exactly,
Freddie Adu. I mean,
exactly.
growing up, I had an idol called Lee Sharp, played for Man United, similar age to Ryan Giggs, and they were battling out for the left wing position for Manchester United. I'm number 5 because of this guy Lee Sharp, who was pretty nasty. He was ahead of Ryan Giggs for about 6 months, and then he just partied too hard, hit the booze. But obviously,
Right.
George Best is, guy who was one of the most talented players
Irish.
of all time.
Northern Irish.
Just pied hard. That first kind of glamour soccer player.
What about Gaza? Is that a fall from
Yeah,
grace?
absolutely. Paul Gascoigne, with all that talent, and I think with Tiger Woods, it's all about how you handle that talent throughout your career.
the one thing I say about golf with Tiger though, he it's capable of him coming back.
I don't know,
come
man.
back.
He's hit. Oh, I'm
Physically-
sure. You think he's just drinking, or I mean, I'm not gonna
I don't know
throw
what
out
he's
some
doing.
ridiculous
I don't even think he was
claims
drinking.
here.
They said he smelled like booze, but I don't know. There's never been. He's not John Daly. There's never reports of Tiger drinking. Like
But this
crazy.
might be a new phase that
He
his
might have
fall.
just but you know
I don't
what?
want to speculate, but Tiger, we wish the best for you. I know Mike especially.
I'm a huge Tiger fan.
I think everyone wants Tiger to be back on top.
Dude, there's no better golfer of all time. I think. Like as far as domination,
The moments,
the moments.
the 2008, even the third.
2005 Masters when the ball,
Yeah.
the Nike commercial that was created. I think Tiger is if anyone's gonna come back from this, if anybody could, it's gonna be Tiger Woods.
But when he gets older each year and gets more
Yeah.
hurt each year.
Yeah, but you know what? He's so good. I don't. You know what? I think there's a good chance that Tiger could actually, like within a year.
Are you lying to yourself? Right
Yeah,
now?
I lied to myself.
Yeah.
Listen, shut up. I lied to myself.
But how kind of low were you when you saw that mugshot today?
Not low at all because I was
dude.
I was lower when I heard about his fourth back surgery. If I'm being honest.
Yeah.
'Cause
No,
I was-
honestly, for me it was kind of the nail in the coffin, and it was just like, it was over. Like the dream was over.
Yeah.
Do you think golf has outgrown Tiger? Not to keep talking about golf, but you have guys.
all these
Yeah,
soccer guys
this
like
is a soccer
cares
podcast.
about-
everyone messes with golf.
Does anyone remember Michu for Swansea?
Yeah.
He's like 29. He's playing in
Yeah,
like
remember
the
he was
fourth
crushing
division.
it, and you were like, "That guy's the best striker in the world."
Yeah.
You told me that. Like, it was like a couple years
Yeah, he
ago.
was great. He went to the Emirates and just ripped it up.
Yeah, and Michu was great, and I think last check I had was he was in the Spanish third or
Yep.
fourth division.
He's in the fourth division playing in front of 3,000 fans each week.
That's a crazy fall.
Yeah, I
But
mean,
if you look at Tiger, look, Jason Day had like 3 weeks or a month where he was playing at Tiger level a couple of years ago, and he was killing it. And now he's getting
None of
he's
the
not
go-
even
yeah,
he's not
none
even
of
making
the-
cuts. And
Yeah,
then
none of the
Jordan
golfers,
Spieth is
yeah.
like, it's so hard. McIlroy got all jacked and he sucked. Now he's getting better again because he's like slimmed down a little
He's had
bit.
a rough couple of years, hasn't
Yeah,
he?
but McIlroy is probably the most talented. Dude, Tiger is such a unique athlete. It's crazy to me. But who knows?
You guys remember when we were a soccer podcast?
Oh yeah, what's up? Soccer?
All right,
What's up?
so yeah,
FA Cup.
I mean, planning's happened this week. We'll go a few days before the FA Cup. It was the USA game versus Senegal on Thursday morning. Connor and I worked at the bar. We did wake up for it. We had a very traditional American breakfast.
Which we also went grocery shopping around 2 a.m. for our American breakfast.
Best
did.
time to grocery shop, by the way, late night. It's so good.
What do you mean it's so good?
I used to always, when I used to work with you guys, I would finish my shifts late at night, and I would go
You buy full chickens, right?
buy crazy
We
shit.
were the only customers in the store.
Yeah.
Oh, it's so good, and like you gotta just jump over the guys that are like cleaning stuff up and stuff, and they ask them questions. They're like, no.
There was
They don't
3
play.
employees, 2 guys restocking, and 1 lady working the register.
Yeah, we got some,
I became friends with the register lady.
We didn't do that, but I got some Aunt Jemima's pancake mix. Got some chocolate chip pancakes.
Sam's
On a few
racist.
hours sleep, we woke up and we cooked those pancakes. We were all set for the USA game against Senegal to finish. Well, it was the second game. We'll get to the third game after the FA Cup. But Sargent scoring that wonderful goal, great turn, great finish to put USA in pole position in their group in the Under-20 World Cup.
Yeah, and it was, to be honest, one of the best goals I've ever seen a USA team score. Just the whole build-up, Brooks Lennon, I was just so hyped about the potential there because those are probably the three of the 4 best players on that roster.
Connor got a soccer boner.
Dude, I mean, it was.
I was actually cooking a pancake and I saw Connor's face, his reaction. I didn't even bother moving around the corner to watch the goal, but he was like, "Oh my god, go on, son, yeah!" So it's 7:30 in the morning.
The techers were crazy. And, Sargent's turn was just so nice, and like the technical ability.
The touch of Adam was.
Oh,
sick.
it was great, and you can just see with I feel like as these younger players in each generation of these U.S. players get older and better, the technical ability just increases.
Can I ask you a question about that? Because you guys obviously have more real soccer experience than I do. The move that Sargent did, where he kind of takes on his right foot, kind of rolls it, and then looks like he's leaning like he's gonna put it far post, and then it slams it in near post. That like ability to do that, how hard is that?
That ability and agility to do that kind of turn, it looks so easy.
Yeah.
But just to control it, because he's controlling it and letting it go across his body at the same time, and taking it with your left foot.
Yeah.
I mean, he's predominantly right-footed.
Yeah.
And to generate that much power and kind of wrong foot the goalkeeper because he's kind of close to the goalkeeper. Naturally, you would go, curl it around to the far post. And many youngsters would do that, but just to control...
He could easily score that way, too.
To turn the defender like that, throw him off, and the goalkeeper, that takes...
It was the confidence and the confidence was very, very impressive. And I don't know how much... It was the game. The score was only 1-0. Not only 1-0, but it was 1-0 against Senegal, who is probably one of the favorites, overall favorites, probably top 5 best teams in the tournament. The U.S. defended so well. The Eric Palmer-Brown, Cameron Carter-Vickers center back pairing was extremely impressive, and it's just the future. It just feels like a bright future for the U.S. And I mean, from the highlights I saw from the Ecuador game, and I know Mike, you watched the whole game back after it happened. The big difference to me from the highlights I saw, and again, I didn't see the entire Ecuador game. I saw none of it actually because it was at 4 a.m. But Senegal just lacked the winger pace. That counterattack pace that
Ecuador had that winger pace, but the moment USA realized it, they did do well.
And one thing I was really impressed about, which Sam, I don't know if you were cooking pancakes and bacon at this point, if you were in front of the TV, was we were within the first 5 minutes of the game, and there was one time when the ball went out of bounds where Tyler Adams was. The camera caught him clapping and yelling at his team.
No, I was there.
What are we doing? Let's step it up. Let's play our game. And the leadership was very impressive. And not that was a turning point, but from that moment on, the U.S. really never looked like they were in that much trouble.
Well, that's my question here. Is that this kid Sargent, obviously 17 years old, now already is top 2 goal scorers ever for the U20 World Cup. Probably going to be number 1 when this tournament's all said and done. I mean, maybe. He only needs 2 goals to be number 1. Are we jumping into a new era here? Is this kid, is our team, are we putting out players that could actually do something on the world stage?
I think it's way too early to come up with that assumption because there's not many players that really shine in this World Cup and go on to become, the world-class players. They've already, a lot of these young players, the superstars now, would never enter that U20 World Cup competition. They're already playing regularly for their club and national team.
Yeah, but he's 17.
He is, but so was Rooney was 16. Rooney was 16 for England.
When Rooney was 16, was he playing on U20 or was he playing on England?
Oh, he was playing on England. He was,
That quickly.
Oh, that quickly, 100%. Yeah, that quickly.
All right, well,
It's very easy to get hype.
I mean, Pulisic is 18. He's playing for the United States.
Yeah, he's been playing for the United States since he was 17.
Exactly. There you go.
It's very easy to get hype about, young players and stuff, but there's so many guys that... I mean, Fabian Johnson played for the German Euro teams at the youth level.
Okay.
And, I think if it really came down to it, if he was good enough for Germany, I think Fabian Johnson would have rather played for Germany than the United States. Growing up there and playing his club soccer there, I think if he was good enough, he would have chosen that.
We've talked about this before, and I've made my fucking argument on this, is that, yes, you're right, but he's Fabian Johnson, John Brooks, all these guys, all their dads were military guys. And I always feel that there's some deep down in guys that they want to be with their
dads were in Germany.
Yeah, but their dads are straight up Americans.
So you think it's a natural male human nature to want to...
I think it could be, and I think you're right. If they were as good as, let's say, Thomas Müller or something like that, if they were on that level, yeah, they probably would play for Germany. But because they're on that question mark area, I think that
No, I kind of disagree. I think it's wherever you grow up, the kids you play around, the environment that you grow up in, those are the situations you want to be in more so. So I would say Fabian Johnson would be more tied to Germany if he lived there.
I mean, he won the Euros. He won I forgot what age group, under 18s, under 17, under 18s, but he won a European championship for Germany as a youth player. And I mean, that's a pretty profound moment as a youth. You have to feel the patriotism and the nationalism of winning a championship representing a country. You have to feel that. And I don't know.
They're probably growing up and living in Germany. They probably are more German day to day than they are American.
Yeah, they're probably speaking more German. Yeah. I mean, you hear John Brooks speaks flawless German in broken English, and that's not his fault. just the environment he grew up in, and that was.
So are you saying you don't want John Brooks on the USA national team?
He should be
Connor?
starting against Trinidad and
Connor, is that what
Tobago
you're saying?
in a few weeks.
But a few days later, USA pulling out a 1-1 tie to finish top of their group, going on to the knockout stages. They will face New Zealand
Well,
in
did you
the
guys
last
watch the
16.
Saudi Arabia game?
Did you?
I watched the whole thing.
How was it?
Horrible. The ref was out of his mind on many people. Like, dude, he was giving yellow cards to the Saudi Arabians for no reason, giving yellow cards to the USA for no reason. He was controlling the entire game. It was out of control. It was one of the worst ref games. It was one of the most unpleasant games I've ever seen. Dude,
Really?
It sucked.
I mean, Cameron Carr-Vickers did get a sending off. He will be
Within
suspended.
4 minutes, he got like one yellow card and then another yellow card, and then he was off.
So just to be clear, because I'm not
Yeah.
sure if it's different at the youth level. How many games does Carter Vickers?
He'll be
miss?
out. He'll be out
Missed
for
the
one.
next one game.
Okay.
But they are appealing it. There's a chance.
I don't think you can appeal 2 yellow cards.
No, they're appealing the second yellow card because he elbowed him in the back of the
Yeah, it was
shoulder,
kind of-
and the kid was like, "Oh, my head." And so I think they're trying to appeal that, and then they're trying to see that he can play against New Zealand. I don't think it matters that much. I think the USA will probably roll over New Zealand, but
I think I agree with you. The USA should beat New Zealand. I mean, I know literally next to nothing about New Zealand, but I expect that to be a win. However, in the next round, in that part of the bracket, Venezuela is playing Japan, and Venezuela has been arguably the biggest surprise of the
whole
entire
tournament?
tournament with their way of play. So that could be a very interesting game. The United States versus Venezuela, and for those MLS fans that listen, Herrera from New York City FC, he's been starting over Pirlo. Been playing great for both club and country. Will be playing for Venezuela, and he's seems to be like he's a very, very good talent.
Yeah, let's talk about England as well for a second, because they finished top of their group, Group A, with the likes of South Korea, the home nation, Argentina, and Guinea. 7 points they finished, 1 point above South
what do you
Korea.
guys like? You like Guinea or New Guinea? What team you like?
Is there two different countries?
Yeah. I like that. I like the
I
new
like
version.
I like old Guinea.
We
I mean,
will
personally,
play.
I like old
We
Guinea.
will play Costa Rica in the last 16. Good one, Mike. But they look very strong. They look very good. A bunch of Chelsea players, on loan Chelsea players, in and around Europe. But beating South Korea on their home turf in front of 40,000 fans, I think, is a huge accomplishment
I think
for those guys.
I mean, for English fans and as you as an former Englishman, now an American.
Former Englishman.
But-
Don't ever call me forward.
But
I'm
I
not-
think that's a tough group. I mean, Argentina, you expect a lot. They underperformed, and then the Saudi
And so Saudi
South
Arabia,
Korea?
Saudi Arabia's goal against Argentina actually.
South Korea.
Yeah, I know, but Saudi Arabia's goal against USA actually knocked Argentina out of the tournament,
which
so.
is big. And
Huge.
I think that, as an England fan, you have to be kind of pleased with winning that group, because I think at this level, just that, like this, a 40,000 person fan base can make a way bigger difference than at the senior level. And, the home nation always has an advantage in a World Cup just because of those fan bases. But at this level, with players that may not be used to playing in that size of crowd, I mean, there's 2 guys in the United States that still are in college. Williamson is at Maryland, and I think Acosta, the left back, is at New Mexico. They've never played in front of 40,000 people before, ever. So this is, I don't know about the English players, but you look at that, like that's a
Well, yeah,
huge
just being
step up. That's
being
a lot.
exposed to that environment and that fan base, it's got to test your nerves, definitely.
100%.
And with the England players who are scared to step in in their backyard, let alone the middle of South Korea, getting out of that group, which is a very strong group, and only conceding 1 goal as well, which is an own goal.
Hey, if you look at USA's track record, though, not to jump on your England thing, though,
Right.
I got you love England, but look at this: USA plays New Zealand. They play the winner of Venezuela, Japan,
Venezuela have looked very good though in their group stage.
whatever, and then we played the winner of South Korea, Portugal, Uruguay, Sutter. Yo, there's a good chance we make it to the semifinals.
I mean, France. That's the other half of the group.
France isn't in that group,
Yeah,
though.
France are the side of the bracket.
Well, South Korea, they're gonna.
But
have
we'll
all
see.
the
I mean,
home sport.
it's any given day for these kids. It's a group of young players,
Yes.
and anyone can win on the day. And New Zealand, they did play a strong France squad the other day. We did see a few of those goals.
So based off of Sam, I know that you have followed this tournament very closely. Based off of what you guys have seen, what do you expect going forward for not only the United States, but I mean France is 100% the favorite. If you guys haven't had a chance to check out the France highlights,
I mean they have
sick,
regular
that kid.
starters for PSG. They've used over 20 players in their first 3 games, squad players.
they're just recycling
yeah.
the best talent in the world for fun, and it's working. And I mean France is the favorite, but how do you think the US?
I think the US have held their own, in this tournament. They've actually dominated 2 out of the 3 games they've played. England have dominated 2 out of the 3 games they've played. And I think both teams have a very good chance of progressing very far in this tournament.
And we know about the Schalke holding back 3 of our U20 players, Haji Wright, Weston McKinney.
And Zalem being injured as well.
Zalem being injured. Did you guys watch, they just put it up on YouTube, as Schalke did, the U19, all the goals for this year. So I don't know what's going on with Haji Wright. I've been thinking, what happened to Haji Wright? You watch this? Dude, he's involved in everything.
Yeah.
He's been doing a great job.
See, that's how I first heard of Pulisic, was watching just random U17 and even the U15 highlights when he was younger than that on YouTube, and just seeing like Pulisic was in every highlight. And then Haji Wright, to be fair, was Pulisic and Haji Wright in every highlight.
Haji Wright's in every single highlight for the U19 Schalke 04 team. Like, he's killing it. And Weston McKinney's obviously killing it too. But both of them are scoring goals. Those 2 guys are not even on this team. And here's my thing, and I know we want to get off this, getting the FA Cup and stuff, but hold on, here's my thing, is that why are these 2 dudes, Haji Wright and Weston McKinney, or Winston McKinney? Excuse me. Weston McKinney. Obviously, they're killing it at the U19 level. They're tops. That's why Schalke wouldn't release them for U20. Why is Arena and our team not bringing them in? They probably have more talent than at least half of our...
They may be brought in for the Gold Cup, and that's coming up.
That's my thing about the U.S. team. Is like, why do we wait for these European squads to be like, Pulisic is great? And they're like, oh, I guess she is. And they put them on. Why don't they make the move early?
I think it's a good problem to have, though, is just a lot of talent at the youth level.
I think there's plenty of time, and with this qualification process, they've got to play Trinidad next month and Mexico away. I feel like they need experience to get the results that they truly want. I think Bruce Arena is very
pragmatic and stuff.
Yeah, he's very experienced in these types of games and throwing a bunch of young players, which is exciting at the same time, but I don't think it's wise from Arena's choice of players. But I think the Gold Cup's a very good experiment for...
Well, that's my problem. I'm not saying that these kids should be playing. I'm just saying, if they're this talented in the European squad, why are they not in more... why is Chris Wondolowski getting called up?
Oh, he's killing it in the MLS, and we'll get to the MLS in a little bit.
Well, why is Wondolowski getting called up when Haji Wright's killing the U19 German league, and they're winning the U19 squad?
Listen to this, Bruce Arena. Mike McLaughlin has a few words for you.
Yeah, listen, Bruce, buddy.
Because they're all going to turn out like Tiger Woods in a few years.
To be fair,
anyway,
Wando did not get called up to the roster for Trinidad and Tobago and Mexico for finally.
Okay, this past Saturday saw the conclusion of the English season. The penultimate game of the season, the FA Cup final, was Chelsea versus your beloved Arsenal.
Yes, sir.
A lot of surprise players in the Arsenal starting lineup. I know Wenger said he was going to stick with Ospina in goal for the cup competitions, and he did do that.
I feel like that's not the biggest surprise anymore. I mean, you saw Mourinho play Romero in the Europa League final. I feel like that's becoming more and more common. A keeper for the league and a keeper for the cup.
Well, Liverpool changed their team for the semi-finals of the League Cup because Jurgen Klopp felt it was an important time period of that competition to put out your best team and go. Which we discussed it on a previous pod and said, I felt bad for the kids that got them to the semi-final.
The young lads.
And then the big time players came in the semi-finals, which they actually lost against Southampton over the 2 legs. But Pierre Mertesacker as well, surprise call up at the back. Koscielny was suspended for that red card in the last day of the season against Everton.
Going into this game, Mertesacker played 23 minutes. That could be completely wrong.
No, 26 minutes in the previous 13 months, yeah.
So 26 minutes in the previous 13 months. And, I mean, when I saw his name, I was shocked, and I was just like, once again, what is Arsene Wenger doing? Mm-hmm. But... I mean, to be fair to Mertesacker, I think he played great. He didn't put a foot wrong.
And his press conference after the game was very professional, and he just said, I'm glad that my manager and my teammates trusted in me to step in to this big occasion. He is a big game player. He's played at the biggest stage. But, I missed the first half. I did rewatch it. I was actually coaching my son's soccer game, but I managed to watch the whole second half. I thought Arsenal dominated for long periods of the game. They went up after 4 minutes. Sanchez goal, big time player, big time goal. Chelsea looked a little bit.
Real quick, was Sanchez
I think so.
offsides or B handball or a combination of both? Or for those of you that didn't see the goal, it's worth looking at because it was.
Who was it? It was Welbeck. Who was the guy kind of in that
Ramsey.
area?
It was
Oh, it was
Ramsey.
Ramsey in that area. I think it was offside because I think it really threw Courtois off. That play did. Even though Sanchez wasn't offside, I thought Ramsey was influencing.
More or less. He was
yeah.
close enough to the ball where
Absolutely.
I think he may have influenced Courtois' decision-making a little bit.
Oh, 100%. I mean, I'm not going to say that Courtois was going to save that if Ramsey wasn't there, but I think he influenced that play just where defenders were standing and Courtois' mindset. But I don't think Sanchez was definitely not offside, and that was a great start for Arsenal.
It couldn't have started better. And I just want to say one thing. I know we were already into the game, but the startup of the game, like between the was it not Prince Harry, the other Prince William, and just the Manchester moment. And I worked the game at the bar. I was there working the FA Cup final, and when the stadium did the moment of silence, the bar did the moment of silence, and it was kind of like a special. It was crazy, man. Like it was just. It's corny, but I'm just saying, like it was like a nice moment, and the FA Cup, the fact that English royalty is coming to the game.
They do that all the time in the FA Cup.
I know that, but it still shows that it's an important moment for
just the country as a whole,
Yes.
and just coming together as a country. We see United States do that when big tragedies happen on home soil, and it was a terrible tragedy that happened in Manchester the week prior. But yeah, to see the nation come together, see the royal family, evil royal family, but anyway, royal family, just the people come together on a big occasion, and just such a traditional occasion, the oldest cup competition in the world, and to see that and to see the players pay their respects, mostly foreign players are on that field, and just give the respects to the victims of Manchester, and just actually playing a really good FA Cup game. And it felt like
that was one of the best finals I got
really excited when I was a kid, and just seeing the best teams in the final. And then in recent years we've seen a few championship teams in the final.
Have we?
Well,
the Arsenal Aston Villa final was a joke.
Yeah.
That was 2 years ago. Last year was Man U.
I know Millwall were in the final 1 year, but like in the 90s.
Wigan won the final the 1 year with the Ben Watson header.
But yeah, to see two of the biggest teams in the league
in a local derby too. It was it felt like a big occasion, and I think the FA Cup needed that, and I think this with what's been going on in England the past week or so, it just felt like a really big, important occasion. And, I've personally lost interest as an Arsenal supporter this year, but I was so tuned into this game watching just the scenes develop at Wembley and the final itself. I mean, I know not to talk about Arsenal again, even though Arsenal's in the final, but the whole Arsenal final when Arsenal was down 2-0 and came back and won 3-2 was, I would say, a great final, but this final was so evenly contested. I mean, it was evenly contested, but I think Arsenal outshone Chelsea.
I think Danny Welbeck had a great game, and I think
Connor, can I ask you a question?
Yeah.
So because of this final, because of Arsenal's performance, even though Chelsea was down a man,
no, Arsene Wenger should not resign a contract.
No.
Well, we're gonna get to that in a little bit, but
really,
Arsenal were 1-0 up at halftime. Victor Moses getting sent off 2 yellow cards, that dive in the box, 100% a dive. I thought
he had a bit of a shocker in the first half. I remember who were the commentators, Martin Tyler and was it Stuart Robson or who was the second commentator? You remember?
I'm not too sure.
Guy Mowbray, whatever. I remember them specifically calling out Moses within the first 20 minutes and being like, he's having an absolute shocker of a half, and then that dive was pretty pathetic.
Can I ask a question about that? Does you think that Moses kind of showed that his quality isn't as high as Chelsea?
He's been so good this season, and he's been a regular starter for the team this season. He's been just as good as any other Chelsea player out there. I mean, Hazard's obviously been the shining star of that team, but in terms of consistency, Victor Moses coming out of the abyss, should we say, and just starting for Chelsea, and Alonso on the other side, I think gave Chelsea a great balance all season. But
it really worked out.
2 minutes after Moses getting sent off, Diego Costa did score. I thought the goalkeeper could have done better.
I will say one thing. I was happy to see Ospina start. I think at this point with Arsenal's current team situation, I really do believe that Ospina is the better keeper. But I think Czech would have saved that just due to his sheer size. So. Ospina's only, 5'9", 5'10". He's not the biggest keeper.
It wasn't the cleanest shot from Costa. And the way he just didn't shift his body, his feet were kind of cemented into the ground, should we say. And it was at the near post, and it bounced twice before it got to him, and he kind of patted it down at the near post. He would have been very disappointed letting that goal in.
But I think, do you think that Czech would have saved that due to his size?
Yes. When I saw it happen, I was there. Peter Cech would have saved that. But listening to the preview and reports saying Ospina was going to start, it was no surprise that he was going to start, even though Cech I still think is a better goalkeeper. But the fact that Ospina's played all the cup games this season for Arsenal, it just goes to show Wenger's loyalty in his team selection. And you know how stubborn Wenger is; he's not changing for anyone.
Absolutely.
So,
how do you feel about that though, in general? With this is becoming a common trend. It feels like with teams choosing a separate keeper to play specifically in the cup to give them minutes. And then you get to the final and you stick with that keeper. Is that smart, or is that...
I think what it does is, and I'm going to base this off Peter Schmeichel, because when he was playing a lot of games for Manchester United, when all the cup games, they expanded the Champions League, as a big man and as an older man, he just couldn't, he needed to train. And he just said, I remember in that treble DVD, he was like, it's just games every other day. And to keep the longevity of these goalkeepers' careers, like a Peter Cech or a Van der Sar, you have to have a decent backup goalkeeper in order for the top goalkeepers to have a longer season.
Yeah, but there's no logical sense about having, this one guy plays on Thursdays, the other guy plays on Saturdays and Sundays and Mondays.
Of course, that makes
perfect sense when you're at the end of the year. Like when there's no, why, you know what I mean? There's no.
So you're saying when you
but if he sticks with that policy throughout the whole season, go, hey, this is my Champions League, FA Cup goalkeeper, and I know Peter Cech's my number one goalkeeper. In order to have him for maybe just another season or 2 seasons, we need to save him. We need to kind of protect him and not just throw him out in games. Big battles every other day. I just don't think a 35, 36-year-old goalkeeper can handle that.
I get that, but
physically.
when you're at the end of the year, whether you're only having a game a week,
I understand that.
United, the Europa League final, it doesn't make any sense to not put the best keeper.
I agree with you on that part, but to show loyalty...
I kind of respect managers. Yeah. I respect Mourinho for playing Romero in the final, sticking with the keeper he played all Europa League, and I do respect...
Romero did a great job in
De
the Europa
Gea
League.
is one of the best keepers in the entire world.
I get that. That's not fair on Romero if De Gea's just been thrown into that final just because he's
It's not fair at all. I'm not saying it's fair, but it's kind of weird. It's like, I've got the part, I'm in Phantom of the... Whatever, Broadway show... And then you go, you know what, though? The other guy's available, so get out of here because he's better. But the thing is, he is better. He should have the shot. He's on the team. He should take it.
I somewhat agree, but I disagree.
It's an odd situation. It definitely is. It definitely is.
I just feel it just shows confidence in your backup goalkeeper. It'll give him that he would step up in big games, which Ospina did, although he did kind of make he did make a great save at the end, after Ramsey scored that winning goal. And, your favourite Welshman, Aaron Ramsey, coming up with that header. Different haircut.
Second winner in the last 4 years of FA Cup final. Yep. He's scored the winning goal.
I mean, at this level, the difference between those type of keepers, how big is it between, De Gea and Romero?
It only takes one mistake to lose a game.
And who do you think is the best out of those two?
De Gea and Romero? Yeah. Obviously, De Gea is a far better goalkeeper than Romero. But at the end of the day, Romero is... probably only there because he's playing in these games. If De Gea's playing every single game, Romero's going to go, I want to play some football, I'm going to go elsewhere. And now we're stuck with a third choice English under-20 goalkeeper.
All that.
And just in case De Gea gets injured one day, we've got to rely on
So you give it to
else.
Romero because he deserves it, because he's been in that competition the whole year.
Romero, you mean?
Yeah, Romero. Excuse me.
Yes, absolutely. And I think to keep a top goalkeeper like Romero at Manchester United, you need to play him in those games. I remember in Van der Sar, when his career was winding down as he was getting older, we had Thomas Cusack, a very good goalkeeper. And it was Van der Sar would play maybe 10 games straight, and then Cusack would play 5 games, and Van der Sar would play 10 games. And Cusack got a lot of minutes for Manchester United, but that enabled Van der Sar to play 1 or maybe 2 even extra seasons at the end of his career.
Okay.
And I'll say for both Arsenal and United, it's a good problem to have, having a backup that is good enough to win in both cases that are going
My
to win a
only
competition.
issue with this is that United getting Champions League next year was huge. Huge to Mourinho. Huge. And the fact that he goes, I'm going to put a keeper that's like...
But he's
It's
got them
weird,
in
it's
there.
a
He's
really
got them to the
odd-
final.
I mean, the thing is, he goes, yo, we're so much better than Ajax, it doesn't even matter.
Yeah.
It's a weird mentality because you don't see it in American sports playing a backup just
Yeah,
because
exactly.
he deserves it. You
'Cause,
don't
yeah,
see
exactly.
it, and it's kind of a
There's
different.
no
in soccer,
deserves in sports.
but it's an odd situation that it happens. But
All right, another. Well, there was cup finals all over Europe. Barcelona did beat Alaves. No one gives a shit about that. Messi scored
3-1, right?
3-1. But onto the German cup final. Borussia Dortmund versus Frankfurt. What happened here,
Crack
Mike?
my knuckles here. Hold on.
Just wipe your nose as well, then, mate.
Well, let me tell you about this final. You know what happened here, guys. They didn't start Pulisic. We went with Dembele.
so now Dortmund is we. You're officially.
I'm a Dortmund.
You're a Dortmund
I beat
guy.
Sam last night playing with Dortmund on FIFA.
I was Vitesse, man.
What I crushed you. I don't even know. Are they bad? Yeah, they're a bit suck. Okay, so I went with there was Royce,
I read the manager
Dembele,
name.
and then who was on the left in the poker final?
Didn't watch the game, mate.
Okay, whatever. Who cares? But they brought in Pulisic because Royce got injured.
For our listeners that don't know, it looks like he tore his ACL, correct? And he's out.
He's out 6 months.
That guy can't catch a break. Can he?
But what's interesting about that? Since he tore his ACLs out 6 months, it's kind of looks like Pulisic will play in the middle, starting next year. I'd say that this now lends itself to Pulisic not being transferred this summer, which he probably wasn't going to be anyway.
Yeah, he wasn't. Absolutely.
He wasn't going to be anyway. But at this point, it's almost like a slam dunk. He's not going to be. So Pulisic comes in at the half. And Aubameyang's up top, and he shoots a little over the pass to Pulisic, who's making a run in the box. And Pulisic beats the keeper, gets a touch, keeper fouls him, draws the penalty.
I did see that, and it was a clear foul.
It was a clear foul.
I don't know who was
penalty.
going to get the ball, but
He was going to get the ball.
okay, maybe. But 2-1 winners.
2-1 winners.
Over
Pulisic
Frankfurt.
played- Over Frankfurt. Yeah.
Did Timmy Chandler play for Frankfurt?
He did. He played great. He
did play.
got subbed in the 72nd minute, but he was playing great. And he
USA
got moved
so
because
much.
they wanted to put up some more offensive players. But honestly, Pulisic was great. Dembele is the star of the team, though. I will say that.
Oh yeah, some of his.
You know what was cool? Just for me, I didn't get a chance to watch the final. But the Pulisic support he was on Instagram, right? I follow a lot of Dortmund players. I follow Weigl. I follow Pulisic.
Weigl wasn't even in the game. He
Yeah,
didn't play.
I follow Dembele and I follow Aubameyang on Instagram. And Pulisic was just posting videos of him with his teammates, and it was just one of those things where sometimes it's almost too good to be true that he's in this situation.
Yeah.
But he's really a part of that team, and he posted one video speaking French with Dembele, doing some chant and song, and it's just like he's really a part of this team, and like
I think Pulisic's like 2 years away from being top 10 in the world midfielder.
Wow, bold statement.
hot take.
But before we get into everyone's favorite segment, the MLS segment, Francesco Totti did play his last game for Roma, and they actually had to win this game to secure second place in Serie A. I know you watched the game, Connor. How emotional was this farewell for Francesco Totti? How long's he been at?
24 years at the club.
24 years.
Interesting. This was an interesting fact I saw last week. So Philip Lahm and Totti both retired this year. By the time Philip Lahm, who is in all regards probably considered a legend of the game, by the time he made his debut for Bayern's first team, Totti had already played 10 full seasons for Roma, and he's been there for 24 years.
And he's played with the likes of, some great players like Gabriel Batistuta, who played for Roma and Fiorentina. But he's probably seen everything from Serie A.
He's seen
been
it all.
through
He's
so
won a
many-
league. I
yeah.
think he's won 2 Italian
three
Cups.
decades.
And it was one of the most unique. The stadium was full, first of all. The stadium was full, first of all, which is rare for an Italian stadium not called the Juventus Stadium. But it was one of the most. It was people were at the bar. I worked yesterday. I worked the day shift yesterday at the bar, and I had the game on, and there was a group of people that were watching the scenes unfold after the final whistle blew, and when grown men in the stands were weeping, women were weeping, players
Really?
were weeping,
Wow.
bro, weeping. Tati was weeping,
Well, I did see his kids come on the field. They're like 27.
but like
They're like, I'm on the
and
U19.
the Italian players especially, De Rossi and El Shaarawy stuck out, but De Rossi, who wore the captain's armband because he started the game,
Yeah.
was a mess for the entire post-game ceremony.
Really?
And it was just, you really, I don't know, it's just being in a city like Rome with so much history.
You ever been to Rome?
I haven't been.
I've been there a few times. It's an amazing city.
I can imagine. But for the city...
I'm city dropping. I've been to Rome a
Big
few
travel guy.
times.
Did you go
Excuse me,
Santiago,
fellas.
Chile
I've
last
been to
month?
Rome.
Big-
I've been to Santiago, Chile as well.
Big travel guy.
All over.
But no, it really was a... and people at the bar were like, had no idea what was going on. Like, who is this guy? And I told someone, I was like, this is like Derek Jeter times 2. Like, this guy's played in 4 World Cups.
Derek Jeter.
But yeah, they ran out 3-2 winners, and actually a last-minute goal to secure that
Perotti
second
scored
place.
a goal winner.
Because
in, stoppage time.
any other game, Totti was going to play that whole 90 minutes, but they had to be careful because Napoli had won 5 on the bounce to be hot on their heels. And although second and third in that league doesn't make a huge difference, but
both second and third qualify
but
for
to,
Champions League.
yeah, solidify that second place and not go through that qualifying process was kind of a big deal. But yeah, farewell to Francesco Totti, one of the true greats. Absolutely, we all love him here
Great jawline.
at the Third Touch. Great jawline, apparently. But we're coming on to everyone's favorite section.
Real quick, could we hit on the Huddersfield Reading game
we
this
can
morning?
do that. Yep.
Huddersfield played Reading today in the championship final
To go to the Premier League.
to go to the Premier League. So
It's an American coach in the Premier League.
David Wagner, yes, hopefully has better success.
Wagner's.
Better success than Bob Bradley.
Waggers.
Jurgen Klopp protege, and they won the game. I will say one thing though.
Wait, he coached for for Klopp.
He was his
Yeah,
assistant.
he was
at
he
Dortmund?
actually coached Borussia Dortmund too. Yeah, so he probably coached Pulisic.
Holy shit,
yeah.
really?
Yeah.
So this guy Wagner is might be a part of Pulisic's acclamation.
Yeah, so
Of
you
course,
should-
yeah,
you love
of
him
course, he's
officially.
been
Oh
around.
my
for-
god,
yeah.
I love this man.
Big
So,
Wagner
yeah.
guy. But I will say one thing, Danny. I was really happy that Reading didn't get promoted just because they've been up and
Yeah, it's
down
just-
a few times.
Well,
I'm tired-
5 years they've been in the championship now, so I mean, but they are kind of an up and down team.
They kind of are. I've seen Arsenal's played them a few years.
And
where it's been
Jaap
the
Stam, the legendary Manchester United centre back, is coach of.
Yeah.
And he looks great on the sideline.
Yeah, and I'll say one thing. Congratulations to Huddersfield, obviously, but Danny Williams, American center midfielder for Reading, was, in my opinion, the best midfielder on the pitch. The best player on the pitch today. He was.
Really?
Dude,
Danny
he was nice,
Yeah.
bro. Won every tackle. It was. I watched the whole game on my phone, so it's not the same. I literally watched the entire game on my phone, which sucked, but he was really,
Call
really
up worthy?
impressive. Call up worthy, but didn't get the call up. Which we'll get into later.
Okay.
With the roster that was released today.
It's time.
It's time.
There it is.
MLS Roundup.
Okay, it is the MLS section with your very own Connor Walsh. Take it away, Connor.
Hey, what's up, guys?
How'd you like that theme song, by the way?
We'll talk about it after we stop recording. But week 14 in the books in Major League Soccer. It's a midweek action. Chicago once again
Chi-Town.
continues their impressive streak in the East. Even though it wasn't a game against an Eastern team, they beat Dallas 2-1. After being undefeated all season, Dallas has now lost 2 in a row, and the clock is ticking. Mauro Diaz needs to come back. Nemanja Nikolic and David Akam.
Well, he
each
did.
getting a
He
goal.
did come back in the last game that we're going to touch on, but
Yeah, he came back. So this game was Thursday night. Friday night, Toronto and Columbus played in a game between two of the top teams in the East.
Toronto's best team in the league.
well, that's
Probably,
top
yeah.
of the East,
Probably, yeah. But interesting fact, this game is called the Trillium Cup.
What?
The Trillium Cup.
What does that mean?
I have no idea. Zero research was done into the meaning of that, but that's like some that's like some Big Ten stuff. Like Iowa plays Purdue, and there's a trophy for it in football, and there's no reason for it. But Chicago or Toronto 5-0 over Columbus. Seattle wins the Derby over Portland 1-0. Christian Roldan fourth minute winner. Portland's continues to struggle.
Yeah.
I know Mike was on
my
the
squad, yeah.
Portland tip heavy. Are they frauds, Mike? Is
They're
your
not-
squad
they're not-
falling
listen,
apart, buddy?
They're not frauds. It's just MLS. You know, what are you going to
The
do?
parody, right? Blame it on the
It's
parody.
My boy is still killing it, Nagby, but it's just not working out right now.
Yeah, it's they're kind of a.
I would like to say, and I would like to add, Taylor Twellman is a very good analyst for the MLS. I think he's great. I think he makes soccer very simple for like the first time watchers. I think, although he does understand the game and the league very deeply, he can portray this as a presenter and just make it in simple terms and make everyone understand the game. So shout out to Taylor Twellman.
I'm a big Twelman guy. Most people aren't, but I think most people would probably take Twelman over Alexi Lawless.
I like 12.
Yeah, he's dope. He's had a good career as a journalist too. But Vancouver losing to DC 1-0. Literally could care less about that match. New York Red Bulls over New England 2-1. Bradley Wright Phillips, of course, on the score sheet. Lee Win gets a consolation PK for the Revolution. Apparently 1,000 fans traveled in 17 buses from New England. But I
pretty
saw
good.
a picture from an MLS journalist, and that didn't seem like it was the case. But if that was true, shout out to New England for the
Where
away
was that
support.
source? What was that source from?
That story, I saw it on a bunch of different MLS Twitter accounts, but it's Twitter, so whatever. Colorado 1-0 over Sporting Kansas City.
Big upset.
Big upset. MLS parity once again strikes. Sporting Kansas City on top of the West at this point. Colorado closer to the bottom. Big 3 points. Probably maybe the upset of the season in my eyes. Not the Colorado. Well, Colorado game was huge.
I
But
know the game
coming up
you're
next,
talking, yeah.
Minnesota 1-0 over Orlando. Mike's homie Christian Ramirez, of course, on the
boy.
score
Yeah,
sheet.
yeah.
1-0. And Orlando are fraudulent stadium merchants. If they're not at home, they're not winning.
Well, they lost against NYCFC last week at
Last
home,
week.
and they've gone through like a really bad patch. What do you think's going on down in Orlando?
I don't know. I think Jason Christ might be fraudulent, and Miles Joseph, if you're listening,
I don't think he's.
Yo,
full.
don't talk crap about Miles Joseph.
I'm not. I'm just saying we got to figure it out, man. You have the best striker in the league, arguably the best striker in the league. You got to figure it out. Got to get some goals in, especially against struggling Minnesota. But they've really kind of somewhat turned it around since the beginning of the season. Real Salt Lake, bottom of the West against one of the bottom of the East teams, 1-0 Real Salt Lake. No Brooks Lennon though for Real Salt Lake, of course, at the U20 World Cup. San Jose losing 2-4 to the Los Angeles Galaxy. Giovanni Dos Santos brace. Wondolowski gets one of the 2 San Jose goals. One of the maybe surprises of the weekend, and I don't know if you guys saw the atmosphere at Atlanta, but it was a complete sellout. 3-1 Atlanta over New York City FC. Almiron brace, once again.
He's really good.
He's amongst the goals and assists and everything. Jack Harrison gets the consolation.
So Atlanta midfielder Frank Kessie will have his AC Milan medical tomorrow. Did you read that?
I did not. That's
There you go.
interesting.
There you go. From the Ivory Coast International.
And then to round up Sunday evening, the Derby, the Texas Derby, Dallas versus Houston.
Yeah, I did
0-0.
watch that.
You did?
I did, and I wanted to keep close eyes on Acosta, who we're going to talk about in a second, who got called up to the USA squad. And I kept a close eye on him, and although he did have some great movement and great possession play, he seemed like very frustrated with his teammates. Very humid conditions in Fresco, and I think people just kind of ran themselves into the ground in that game. A couple of okay saves, but overall very lackluster derby, we should say.
Yeah, 0-0 there. And that wraps up MLS Week 14. Does that wrap up the podcast? Oh no, we have the U.S. men's national team roster was released for the June qualifiers against Trinidad and Tobago and Mexico. If you haven't seen the roster,
I was going to do the outro, but we'll work on that.
We should talk about the
All right,
real quick.
No, I was going to outro your MLS segment. It's okay.
We'll save it for next week.
All
No real surprises though. No Chris Bondolowski, which is a blessing, of course. But I don't know.
But he's been like one of the best scorers in the MLS.
He has been his whole career, but it's just for an international level, it's just not.
He's not going to be used in the game, so what's the point?
Few talking points. Graham Zusi called up, listed as a defender once again. So the right back experiment continues.
I don't know about that.
I think in the Mexico game more so. He got ripped up the Trinidad game.
Yeah, but Fabian Johnson's back healthy. I think for me personally, the biggest thing to look out for, biggest talking point is with no Jermaine Jones and Kellen Acosta having a pretty great year for Dallas.
Yeah.
Whether it's been the CONCACAF Champions League or the MLS regular season, is if he can solidify a starting spot in that.
Can I ask you a question, Connor?
Yes, sir.
Are we reaching the point where Michael Bradley is not going to be a starter every game?
No. Not yet.
I don't think so. I don't think we're there quite yet. Okay. Because I think it's going to be
no shade on Michael Bradley. I think he's great.
It's a reasonable question, and it's something that's been it's been talked about for 2 or 3 years now, not let alone this year. But I think that going into that game against Trinidad and Tobago, it's Thursday the 8th, I believe, or 9th of June.
Which one? The 8th is against Trinidad, and then the 11th.
Sunday night is the 11th is against Mexico. But I won't be surprised at all to see. Especially a home game, a home qualifier to see. I think it's going to be Acosta and Michael Bradley in the midfield. And for me, Acosta's been so good in Major League Soccer. And even in the CONCACAF Champions League, he scored some big goals for
But
FC Dallas.
I mean, Jeff Cameron as well can also play in that defensive midfield role as well. Definitely against Mexico, you would say. So against Trinidad, you got to go for those 3 points at home.
Yeah.
But Jeff Cameron could be that option in the Mexico game at the
Azteca. And shout out to Jeff Cameron, who just signed an extension with Stoke City until 2020, I believe. So he's.
Do you think this is the first call-up squad, and there hasn't been any surprises? Everyone's kind of happy with the players that are in it. You can't really have any qualms with anyone in there?
I mean, for me personally, 100%. No one is a surprise.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
No one is, I'm not disappointed to see a name on there. And I think
my only surprise, it's not even a surprise. It's the younger players that could be brought in, but that just aren't there
the
yet.
Schalke guys, right?
I think Schalke, U20. Why did shut up?
They can't really call the U20 guys if they get far in this tournament.
Who's the U20 midfielder who replaced Zalam?
Williamson, maybe? From Maryland?
No, the Real crap.
Oh, the Real Soleil kid.
Yeah.
You're not pulling any of these guys out of the World Cup.
Yeah, and that's just not going to happen. I think that for the Gold Cup, which is coming this summer, we'll see a more experimental, younger roster. Bruce Arena alluded to Dom Dwyer spending some time in the USA camp before the end of summer, which to me is a clear indication of Gold Cup because. The Gold Cup is important, but you can kind of take a step back and let a few guys rest. It's not as big of a deal.
When there's no Confederations Cup to be won, there's really nothing to be won.
But no, if you win the Gold Cup, you go to the Confederations
Cup.
Cup.
Not this one, though.
Yeah.
This is in the same year. The Gold Cup and the Confederations Cup is the same year.
Oh, yeah, so it was the one last year.
I don't know.
Yeah, so this
it was a playoff game against Mexico last year.
Yeah, exactly. This year it would be just like a B Cup. It doesn't even matter, really.
It's the Gold Cup. It's the Gold Cup.
I love the Gold Cup.
I'm sorry, Gold Cup. Yeah,
we just can't lose to Jamaica in the semifinal, but does that about wrap it up, lads?
That does. But thanks everyone for tuning in. And we'll talk to you guys next time. Thanks, guys.
Thanks, guys. Later.
Cheers.
Who do you think you are? Mr. Big Stuff. You're never gonna get